the LA Clippers would play their first of two games in a 22-hour span on Saturday afternoon against the Chicago Bulls. I was in attendance, and it was so similar to the Houston Rockets game. Going to be talking about what I mean, but the Clippers do get the win on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper content. I'm doing a vlog for the game, but I'm actually doing a special video in this one where I was invited to the Laker game on Friday by a friend for free. So, of course, I'm going to take it. It was a very fun experience, but Clipper games are so much more lively. I mean, it's just not even close. Like, I'll get into that later. But the point is, I actually filmed the experience to compare. So for people that have never been to either, want to see the differences, I took that on my YouTube channel. And of course, Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Let me know what you thought of the game and why. I actually haven't checked the comments for the last video of what you guys said about why the Clippers can do this so often, where one half they look like a very slow, old, lethargic team that has no business even being on the court. And the next half, they look like a totally different ball club. So I want to be talking about that because I just felt there was a lot of similarities in this game to the Houston game. And I haven't even basically changed up two of the segment categories because of that, just to show how, obvious it was. Or I should not obvious, that's not the right word. To show how redundant it felt the game was. That's the funniest thing. So let's get into it. Clippers against the Chicago Bulls. Now, the one thing about the Chicago Bulls, they're always going to bring a lot of fans. A lot. And the last Bulls Clipper game I went to, I want to say was 2022. And that was when they were like the number one seed in the beginning of the season. And Lonzo was playing really well. And that was when they first got Alex Caruso. Zach LaVine was playing well. And they first got DeRozan. It was about 55 to 60% Bulls fans, believe it or not. But on Saturday, it was like 40%. So it was good to see that. And there was a whole issue on Axis with the tickets that there was so many people. If you noticed, the stadium was empty on TV early in the game. That wasn't just because it was a 1 o'clock matinee dreaded start. There was a whole problem with the Axis app. So tons of people, like myself, were outside the entire first quarter. I got into the stadium, and it was the beginning of the second quarter. So what I saw about the first quarter was DeMar DeRozan was cooking us, and we didn't get off to the best start. But when I came and watched the second quarter in full, we just looked like a very slow, old team. The ball was sticking. It was basically Kawhi, Paul, and James Harden taking turns isoing. The Bulls were switching 1 through 4. So it was a lot of, the Clippers trying to hunt mismatches. And we didn't do a great job one-on-one in that first half. When Kawhi would get a smaller defender like Kobe White or Ayo Dosunmu on him in the post, they would double team from there. So it was forcing Kawhi to be a passer. But Chicago, DeMar DeRozan, he had a really solid first half. He was making tough shots. He had 13 points. Nikola Vucevic had 14 points and 10 rebounds in the first half. And I thought in the second quarter, Ivica Zubac did not look like Ivica Zubac. Or should I say, he looked like Ivica Zubac in the last couple of games since he's come back from that illness. I mean, getting beat to offensive rebounds. Vucevic was scoring on him one-on-one. I just thought his one-on-one defense against Vucevic was just poor. Felt like he was getting cooked. It's crazy. Vucevic had 14 shot attempts in the first half. He actually only shot 43%, but he had 14 and 10 at halftime. 4 of those were offensive rebounds, while Zoo had just 4 points and 6 rebounds at halftime. And Terrence Mann had a donut. Amir Coffey had a donut. Paul George was our leading scorer with 11 points on 4 for 10 shooting. Kawhi was 4 for 8, but as I said, they were double teaming him frequently, so it was causing other guys to get involved. And we also had 10 turnovers in the first half. 10 turnovers. It just felt like we were slow, lethargic, not moving the ball with any pop, no urgency. And then defensively, we're just average. Average as can be. 57-46 Bulls at halftime. And the Bulls are shooting 46% from the field and 44% from 3. Clippers are shooting 41.5% from the field and 26% from 3. But here's the thing. I was just like, all it takes is one push. Crowd's going to take over and the quality will show out. I was just thinking, this is exactly like the Houston game. Exactly like it. And the biggest lead of the game that I think Chicago had was 14. In the beginning of the third quarter, they went up 60-46. In the game against Houston, we trailed by as many as 20 in the first half. But yeah, 14 was our biggest deficit in this one. But again, it was the exact same kind of situation. Part of it's just the shooting variance. They just were making shots in the beginning we were missing. But I don't think the process was good. I thought it was a lot of one-on-one, but slow one-on-one. Not attacking quickly, not being aggressive, very stagnant, not moving the ball with zip, not trying to push the pace on misses and not creating many misses. And then, of course, 10 turnovers in one half. That's going to be tough to, have the lead or be tied or anything like that. Second half, it's like a completely different basketball team. I mean, it starts with Paul George, being aggressive. And then James Harden creating good shots. He's working on a triple-double, which he eventually got, so shout out to him. Kawhi starting to score a little bit more, but also getting double-team, making plays. And then I got to give a big shout-out to Norman Powell and Bones Highland off the bench. I thought they gave us a really nice lift. Bones Highland had 10 points in the game on 3 for 3 shooting, and all those shots were threes, 1 for 2 from the line in just 13 minutes. And he got that along with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals, and was a +6. So again, he's just James Harden's straight backup. He's in for the minutes that James Harden doesn't play. James Harden played 34, Bones played 13. So in the minutes that James was out, Bones was in, and I thought he had a very solid game. Very solid. So you love to see that. 2 pretty decent games in a row for Bones, but I would argue this might be his best one since Russell Westbrook got hurt. And that's the type of stuff we're going to need with Russ out. So shout out to Bones. And then Norman Powell just continuing to be that guy. When we make comebacks, and you go back to that game against Brooklyn, where we came back on another matinee game, Norman Powell, he gets those open threes in the second half, he knocks them down, and then he starts attacking closeouts and scoring around the basket. And there was one time where they closed out hard, and he went all the way for a dunk. It was just an awesome half from Norm, an awesome game from Norm. He had 10 points in the second half, and in the game, he had 18 on 6 for 14 shooting. And here's the crazy part. He was only 2 for 9 from 3. So his 3 ball has been a little bit shaky lately, but again, I'm very confident that he's going to be fine. He was 4 for 5 from 2 and 4 for 4 from the line in 27 minutes. Clippers only going 9 deep, of course, in this one. Tice, Bones, Amir, and Norm. And it was a much quieter game for Amir. He actually had a donut in every single category but rebounding, where he had 1 rebound. He was 0 for 2 from the field, and both of his shots were threes. He was a +7, but I thought he was really quiet. But the one thing I'll say is he didn't do anything bad defensively, so that's good. 15 minutes played for Amir, but it was just a complete tale of 2 halves. And as I said, it starts with Paul George, but big shots late in the game. James Harden with a step back. And the fourth quarter, we only allowed 17 points. We outscored the Bulls 66-45 in the second half. So when you win the half by 21 points, I mean, you'll probably win the game, especially if the second half is the one you win and it's at home. So solid win for the Clips. I just don't like how we make it this difficult. I don't think this is going to work against good teams. There's an argument that can be made that we played down to the level of our competition. So as long as you get the win, that's cool. But I just don't want us developing bad habits. And I don't think we've been playing great basketball the last couple of weeks. And here's the thing. You can say play down to the level of the competition. We lost to the Lakers and we lost to the Bucks. So we got to be sharp. But That was the 30th home game of the season, my 21st of the season. I'm creeping under my all-time season high. 22-8 at home this season for the Clips. That's a very solid home record. 41-21 on the year. I'll take it. Clippers win it 112-102. The leading scorer was Paul George, and I'm going to be talking about him coming up. I got to tell you a little something about eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're preparing for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. This week, I am going to go with Kyle Anderson, and this is why. It's not just because he's one of my favorite college players of all time. It's because Karl Anthony Towns got hurt. So you're going to have to see Kyle Anderson a lot more. So that's why I'm going to go with him. Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right, Clippers winning this one 112-102. And here's the crazy part. We got a game in less than 22 hours following the conclusion of that one. Or no, following the start of that one. Because for whatever reason, I don't even know if this is legal, and Brian Seaman showed some frustration about it in the broadcast, and I love that. Shout out Brian, one of the best in the biz. But he showed some real frustration about it in the broadcast. And we played at 1 o'clock against the Bulls, right? And then we play at noon against the Bucks on Sunday. I'm going to that one too. It's going to be my first time ever going to Staples Center 3 straight days. Crazy. A lot of gas, but I didn't drive the first night, so it is what it is. But great experience. You know, it's really cool going to a Laker game one night and then a Clipper the next. You get to see all the differences. And if you want me to do a podcast on that, I'll do something on that for Dime Dropper. I don't know if, although unless you guys are interested in that, definitely not. That's an off-season kind of podcast. The differences between a Laker and a Clipper game at Staples Center. But it would be easy to do. I could go 25 minutes on that. But it's really brutal. We have a game, and it's not just 23 hours, right? Daylight savings. So it's 22 hours. I mean, unbelievable. And the Milwaukee Bucks are coming off a game that they lost narrowly without LeBron. That they probably are like, we should have had that one. And it's Pat Bev and Gallo are coming to Clipperland. You know how hard Pat Bev plays against us. But here's the thing. They just beat us without Giannis, and we blew a huge lead. We should have some kind of, like, okay, let's get it this time. Let's not get swept by these guys. Like, come on. We'll see, though, how much pride the team has. They could just be fatigued. One of the biggest reasons the Clippers came back, though, it's the same thing as the last game. The duality of Paul George. His aggression in the second half was way different. Going to the basket, being more aggressive, trying to get downhill. He was catching the ball closer to the basket, and then getting double teamed, and then finding Norman Powell for these open shots. Found Daniel Tice in the middle of the lane for a shot. I mean, it's just, I don't understand this guy sometimes. Like, I really just don't. 4 for 10 in the first half. Then he's 4 for 8 in the second. But the 9 assists, that's what really sticks out for me is that Paul George had 9 assists. 11 points and 5 dimes to go along with 2 steals and 2 blocks in the second half. And so it's not just the offense. He started guarding DeMar DeRozan, who was giving us the business in the first half, and he was getting a lot of steals. 2 steals and 2 blocks. Kawhi didn't have a steal or a block in the second half. Zubats didn't have a steal or a block in the second half. Terrence didn't have a steal or a block in the second half. James Harden had 1 steal. Paul George was creating a lot of great stuff for us defensively, and the Bulls turned the ball over 7 times in the second half. So it's just a matter sometimes of like, does Paul George want to be serious or not? Like, that scares me, though. However, I'm putting my eggs in the fact that, unlike some of the people that comment on this channel, and you're entitled to your opinion, I think he will be the serious version in the playoffs. Now, does that mean he's not gonna have stinkers? He will have some stinkers. He will, but the hope is he doesn't have any bad series, meaning that he plays well in more games than he plays badly. Can he give us 4 good games out of 7? And hopefully, let's say hypothetically he has 3 bad games in a series, which is not great in itself. If James Harden also has 3 bad games and those two guys' bad games coincide, then we're in trouble. But then again, if they play well 4 times out of 7 and then Kawhi plays well 5 or 6, or maybe all 7, then we should be good. But I just want us right now. It's too, the playoffs are kind of on the horizon, but it's about building good habits. And one thing I'll say, if it's a Zubac, I thought he looked more lively in the second half. He missed a point blank layup at one point of this game, point blank layup or dunk. But in the second half, he was 5 for 5, 12 points, 3 boards. So he stepped it up. And I'm hoping that can give him some good juju and confidence going into that next game in less than 15 hours of me recording this. Zubac had 16 and 9 overall, so pretty solid stat line, and he had the highest plus-minus on the team with a plus 18. Do I think that means he was the best player? No. But he was 7 for 9 from the field and 2 for 2 from the line in 25 minutes. I thought Daniel Tice was okay. I thought he was better in the second half than he was in the first. I thought first half I was struggling to say anybody played well for the Clippers, like straight up. But in the second half, I think Tice was doing some good things out there. Got a couple of rebounds. Actually, he only got 1 rebound. 2 points, though, on that flash in the middle. His stats actually look better in the first half, but I don't know. I just felt like everybody played better second half. I thought he was okay, Daniel Tice. He was 3 for 8 from the field, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. I thought, what was interesting was Vucevic was in drop coverage, and we really weren't taking much of advantage of it in the first half because Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Alex Caruso were playing good defense at the point of attack. You had Ayo guarding Paul George a lot. Caruso was guarding just about everyone, but even on Kawhi Leonard, he got a clean strip one time in the second half. I mean, that guy, we saw it. If you watch Laker games because it's on local television, if you live around here, Caruso's a hell of a defender, and he always has been. And he's doing it with Chicago now. He's been doing it for 3 years with them. He's a really quality defensive player. And, things were tough in the first half for us. Ayo Dosunmu was also a good defensive player. But PG, Kawhi, James Harden, when they're really at their best, then very few players in the world that can guard them. And again, it's when Kawhi gets double teamed, it's all about swinging the ball quickly and using the shooting that we have to expose these teams for doing that, making them pay. So my moral of the story with this one is it's the duality of Paul George more than anything. It's like, which PG are we getting? And once he starts being more aggressive, starts catching the ball closer, and then he starts getting double teams. He shouldn't be the only one that's getting double teamed. Kawhi shouldn't be the only one that's getting double teamed. Paul George is good enough to be getting double teamed too. But when he's dancing around the 3-point line with everybody staring at him, teams aren't going to be showing help like that because they know that they have a good chance of getting him to settle for a jump shot contested. Am I forgetting anyone else before we get into the Harden triple-double? Zoo was in drop coverage as usual. We started taking away DeRozan's pull-up, though, by hedging the screens in the second half, which I thought was a good adjustment by Ty Lue, which I guess no one's going to mention because people like to blame coaches for everything. But, yeah, that was a good adjustment, taking away that pull-up. But now let's talk about the triple-double of one James Harden. I got to tell you a little something about Stitch Fix. You know that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. Easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want, no subscription required. And they send 5 just-for-me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends just right pieces and the fit is on point. It's like they have style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it all look so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look good and feel really good. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. All right, back to talk about Clippers and Bulls. Clippers winning it 112-102 with a monster second half where they outscored the Bulls 66-45. And we ended up shooting 50% from the game, 34% from three, so not that great. Here's to hoping we can have a better three-point shooting night on Sunday afternoon. But 89% from the line, I'll take that, whereas the Bulls shot 79% from the line. They shot 43% from the field in the game and 37% from three, so they shot better from three but worse from the field. And that was mainly because of the second half. We really clamped down. It starts with Paul George, but everybody else doing a solid job as well. And Terrence Mann, I thought, was better in that second half for sure. He had all his points in the second half. He had 7 points on 3 for 7 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep in 25 minutes of play. And then James Harden. It was actually a fairly quiet triple-double in terms of the rebounding, but I say that a lot, about guys where the rebounding is just like you're getting uncontested rebounds, so I don't even realize who gets them sometimes. But triple-double is a triple-double, and James Harden's assists were very real, as they always are. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. It's funny, I didn't even notice when he got that 10th rebound, but I noticed when he got the 11th. I looked at the Jumbotron. I was like, oh my God, he got it. And I didn't even notice. But, oh my God, I didn't even realize this. All his shots were threes, 4 for 10. Good three-point percentage, but I would like him to shoot more than just threes. 2 for 2 from the line, but triple-double, I think he was arguably the player of the game. I'm going to go with Paul just because I thought he's night and day on both ends in the second half, and when he's playing that level of defense, his two-way play, it's very hard to match his impact. But 22 points, 5 boards, 9 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks for Paul on 8 for 16 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 5 from the line. There was even one time in the fourth quarter when they ran him off the three-point line, and he was wide open. He could have easily shot it, and he went to the basket and did a little Euro step, finished with the left hand. That was beautiful, and I love that he didn't settle. So P, in 40 minutes, God, he played 40 minutes, and we're back at it again in 22 hours. But 50% from the field, 33% from three, but I like that he was 6 for 10 from two. And he shot the most free throws of any Clipper, 4 for 5. But Harden, doing a very good job in the pick and roll as always. The way he, uses his eyes to manipulate defenses, I think is very special, and it's hard to tell. But when you see the replays on TV, you can see, he'll be looking at the corner, and they'll throw the lob to Zoo. I mean, he'll be looking at the lob, and he'll throw it to the corner. He's just got very great manipulation. And if you're a young hooper, use your eyes, to trick the defense. And James Harden's very good at that. Disguise what you're doing. So you saw that on full display from James. And the Clippers get a solid win. Now, the thing is, we're going to have to be better against the Milwaukee Bucks. There's no doubt. As I said, they lost to the Lakers in a game that they probably feel like they should have won. So they'll be without Chris Middleton, but it's going to be a tough game. I hate the schedule thing, but I'll be there. It's going to be tough. But we got to play well for 4 quarters. I expect to see, is Kawhi going to be guarding Giannis as the primary defender? Because position by position, that's what it would be. I'll be very curious to see that. That would be really cool for me to see Giannis and Kawhi. I just saw Giannis the other day from the 12th row, and that guy's a specimen. And I officially have now seen every team in the NBA play live. Everyone. And that's because the Clipper tickets are so affordable. So perks of being a Clipper fan. I've seen every team, even the Sonics. Even the New Orleans Hornets, Bobcats. I've seen them all. So the Bucks were the last step. I thought this was going to be on Sunday, the day that I completed it, but because I got invited to that game, that ended up being it. But now I get to see the Bucks play both games in LA this season. So we'll take that. And with Damian Lillard and Giannis, that's always going to be something you can tell the kids in the future. So blessed, very much so. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper content. Check out my video of going to 2 games in the span of 24 hours. There'll be another video after the Bucks game too, but I'll be doing another Locked On Clippers for Monday about the Bucks game. So hopefully it'll be 3 straight wins for the Clips. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.